Okay, good evening everybody and welcome to the Tottenham Hotspur training ground for this media conference with Gareth, Southgate and Jack Grealish to preview tomorrow's meeting with Australia at Wembley. We'll get underway right away with Tim Thornton, Sky Sports News.
Hi Gareth. Hi. The Australia game gives you a chance to learn new things, but you'll want to win. So how experimental can you afford to be? Will you look to rest some key players to give opportunities to others?
Well, firstly, it's one of the great sporting rivalries, and if Australia have any sniff that we're not taking the game seriously, then we'll be in trouble. So our mindset has got to be spot on. Equally, we've still got a bit of work to do to qualify for European Championship, but we're potentially 6 games away from that, and we have good players, and we need to give people opportunities to show what they can do. So, and that's part of our bond as a team is making sure people get chances to play and feel part of the group and important within that. So, yeah, we've got to get that right balance. Most importantly, we've got good players, and we need to have them in positions on the field where they can do their best work and where they feel comfortable, positions they play with their clubs, so that the transfer is as smooth as possible.
John Stones, he's back in the squad, but he's not played a lot of football. So how do you manage him through 2 games in 5 days? Would he be ready to play in both? And linked to that, Levi Colwill, would you like to see him at centre-half, or is your plan to play him at left-back?
Well, with John, we've had really good dialogue, which we always have with Manchester City. So we've got a plan in place for that. There's a reality around how much we should be playing him, given the amount of football he's had and the length of time he's been out. So we always look after all of our players physically. That's very important. Levi, we know he can play both positions. We like him in both positions, and you'll see when he appears on the pitch in whichever game where he's playing.
Jack, you had such a fantastic season last year. Has it whet your appetite even more to win a major tournament with England?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something that I just got asked actually. So what's next? You know, after the season that I had with City, it was obviously an unbelievable season, one of the best of my career, especially in the second half of the season. You know, when I was playing a lot more, and playing with confidence, and yeah, I think, you know, now we have I think the perfect team, you know, obviously a perfect manager, you know, guiding us, and I think it's something that we need to do. You know, we've come close, you know, now on two occasions, and I feel like we're just getting better and stronger. And I think, you know, you look at the players that we have in our team. I think there's quite a few that could play, you know, for I think any club in the world or any international team in the world. So yeah, I think that would obviously be next on the list, hopefully.
How difficult is it, coming off the back of such a successful season, to hit those heights again? And what's your mindset going into these 2 games?
Yeah, do you know what? It is. I don't mean this to sound like weird, but it obviously is difficult in a way, because, you know, you have such a high of winning a treble, and then you do think, like, you know, what would ever like top that? Obviously, doing something, you know, at international level would definitely, you know, would. But then even at club level, you think, what would top it? And then you think, I don't know, maybe to win all 4, including the Carabao Cup. But we went out of that last week, and then you'd probably think, to do an invincible season, but we obviously got beat. So, yeah, we obviously, you know, to do what we done last year would be unbelievable again. And, you know, like I just said, you know, to do something at international level with this group of players would be unbelievable. And yeah, my mindset, you know, going into this week, obviously I was gutted, you know, to miss out last month with my injury, but, you know, I feel I even had a chat, you know, with the manager at the start of the week, and I still feel like I'm just building my fitness a little bit. You know, obviously we had the start of the season, and then I had I had the injury for 4 weeks and lost a bit of fitness. So now I just want to get back fit and get back playing with full confidence, and hopefully I can play a part in the next 2 games.
And one more, Gareth, from me. The UK and Ireland confirmed as hosts for Euro 2028 this week. You've obviously experienced it as a player and a manager at a home tournament. So your thoughts on that, and also in terms of preparation for the tournament, as a manager, automatic qualification, or would you actually prefer to go through the process of qualifying in terms of better preparation for the actual tournament?
Well, firstly, it's brilliant for all of the countries that are hosting. Great for local business, great for the teams, because there is home advantage, there's no question about that. And great for the fans to be able to see their teams play at home in a major tournament. So that's a fabulous thing for everybody. The qualification, it's a mixed bag really, because you get a mixed range of fixtures, but ahead of 96 we were a season of friendlies, and they were varying levels really. Germany are experiencing that. It's not straightforward at the moment, so I don't know what would be better, but whatever it is, we'd approach it in the right way. And the great thing for England is that the squad we've got now, pretty much everybody can still go again. You've got so many good young players that by that point we'll have more caps, more experiences. There's already, if you look at the squad that we've got this week, there's the strong framework of a whole squad, and then you've got players in the under-21s and below that can come through and compete, and others that are around it. So England are going to be in a very strong position in 4 years' time as well.
Okay, thanks, Tim. The next question, go back to Carrie Brown.
First one to Jack. You considered there was a potential of you coming to Tottenham a while back, and now Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham unbeaten this season. He's just given a rousing speech to the Socceroos, of course the former Socceroos manager, telling them to go and make the moment of take their chance at Wembley and knock England off their perch. What have you made of him and what he's achieved, and has it given you a new respect really for Australian soccer?
Yeah, I didn't actually see that he'd been to speak to him actually, but no, I think they've been brilliant. To start the season the way that they have, and the football that they're playing, I think they've been brilliant. And they're coming into this international break top of the table. I obviously knew that he was a good manager, from his Celtic days. But to come and do it in the Premier League is probably a little bit tougher. But yeah, I feel like he's been brilliant for them. And I think even over the years, we've all seen so many good Australian players. So I think there's always had that respect there, and obviously it would be nice to play them at Wembley tomorrow.
And do you hope the England fans can be a little bit more patient with your manager when he's tinkering in these friendly games, preparing for a tournament? Because how much do you all learn as a team with those?
Yeah, I think he obviously has one of the hardest jobs in the world, I think. But I think whatever he does, sometimes I think all of us nowadays, whatever we do, people will have something to say. And yeah, obviously, it's difficult because obviously we have a friendly and then we have a qualifier. So I'm sure the England fans, will be patient in that sense, and I think it'll be obviously a perfect night tomorrow. Fingers crossed.
And Gareth, a question of Jack, because he's on the top table with you, match day -1, so it shows what he means to you in his team. How much has he solidified his seniority among your top men in your squad?
Well, he's grown as a player. He's always been a fabulous talent, and I've always got to be careful here not to upset the Villa fans again, haven't I? But that I think moving to a club where he had to win every week, the pressure was on to win every week, the demands of his coach. So you develop different attributes. You become a more rounded player, and those experiences are with him now. So he's got great experiences with us, great experiences with his club. He brings, as he's been tonight, we've got different personalities in our squad, and characters like Jack, like James Maddison, the sort of creative types, Trent. We've got a lot of lads that view the world differently, that see different pictures, that see the game differently. That's what makes a team, that's what makes a squad. So, we love working with him. He's brutally honest about his performances. Sometimes I think he's a bit hard on himself. He's different to... We've got depth in that wide position, but he's different to all those other wide players we've got.
Jude Bellingham, and returning from his stint at Real Madrid, can you put into words how you think his season has gone so far?
Well, it's an incredible start, really. He attacks every challenge that's ahead of him with great confidence. I think he's still physically, every time I see him, he seems to still be filling out, which is not a surprise at his age, really. And of course, he's developed a thirst for scoring goals. He's in the right areas. He's so powerful around the penalty boxes. So different role that he's had with Madrid, having lost Benzema. They've had to play differently this year, and he's been the guy that's got the important goals for them. So delighted for him, because it's such a big move, and you want to start well when you join a new club, and he has.
Harry Maguire telling me and talking to us all about how David Beckham picked up the call after his performance and the abuse he got from the Scotland fans. What did you know of that, and how happy are you of his performance? Ten Hag saying how happy he was going into this international break, and would you like to see that rewarded with more starts for Manchester United?
Well, it's none of my business whether he plays for Manchester United or not. I don't think Eric would thank me for commenting on that. In terms of David Beckham, I wasn't aware, but I can see from Harry's comments that he's made how much it meant to him. David's obviously played at United, he's played for England, so he knows the world that Harry's living in. And it will have meant the world to him to get that sort of support. So he's a very strong character, but nonetheless he's a human being, and I'm sure a call like that would have meant a huge amount to him.
Levi Colwell, is this a perfect opportunity for him?
Quite possibly. He's a young player who had a fabulous season at Brighton last year. He did really well with our under-21s in the summer. He can obviously play at left-back or at centre-back. We like him in both positions. Very composed on the ball. And already this week he's had a couple of camps with us now, and you can see he's more comfortable in the environment and growing in confidence with the group. So he'll be on the pitch this week, and it will be great to see.
Thanks, Gary. James?
Hi, Gareth. Harry Maguire also mentioned watching the new Beckham Netflix documentary, and particularly the criticism that David went through after the 1998 World Cup, which obviously you were part of the team then. Do you think there are still lessons that need to be learned today from how David was treated back then?
Sorry, I'm grinning because 96 wasn't a lot of fun for me either, or the aftermath. So, look, supporters pay their money. They have the right to cheer their team, support their team, criticise their team, whatever. But players are human beings, and nobody suffers more than them if they are having a difficult run of form, if they're injured, if they're make a mistake in a game. You go back to your bed, you're playing it over and over and over in your head, and it's your life, it's your job. So you're constantly questioning yourself as a player, and players have always had that additional layer of reaction from radio, television, written newspapers, and now we have this additional layer again of social media if they choose to engage. So it is a complicated thing for young people. There is a lot of criticism of anybody in the public eye. But the guys are out there doing it. They're the ones that are trying to break through barriers, trying to prove themselves every day. And yeah, they have to be resilient. They know the world they're in. It comes with great accolades and adulation and rewards, but there is a downside that is part of our sport.
With what you went through after '96 and David in '98, is it harder now, do you think, for the players? Is it just different with as you say, with social media?
Yeah, I guess just different, you know. There's not a huge amount of fun in walking down the street and having people shout out their van at you, or playing at away grounds, and you know, so that is again the world. You have to get on with it. You have to, as I said, it helps you to develop resilience. The things that go wrong in your life help you to develop resilience, and yeah, as I say, I'm not sure there's a lot of point in saying it was worse then or it's worse now, or it is what it is, really.
Jack, just on the same subject really to you, have you seen the documentary at all? I don't know how aware you were of what David went through, or how you think it might have changed in the last 20 years.
Yeah, I watched it. I loved it actually. I thought it was really good. I obviously was quite young back then. I was like, what, 2 or 3 or something. So I obviously didn't realise, like what he went through, and I didn't realise how famous he actually was. I think it's a lot different nowadays in different ways, because now we have, I don't know, like when I watched that, I felt like there was a lot more, like everywhere he went there'd be like cameras in your face or people waiting in certain, do you know what I mean? Whereas nowadays I don't really think we have that, because you know, fans can say what they want, like on social media, if that makes sense. Whereas looking at that documentary, it felt like people would go to like where he is, or whether it be, you know, paparazzi or I don't know, newspapers or even fans. It felt like it was a bit more full on. Whereas nowadays you can, if you're a player, you can not hide a little bit, but you know, you can just, I suppose, delete your social media, can't you, if you don't really want to read anything. So yeah, I just feel like it's a bit the same but different.
And just finally from me, back to Gareth, if I can, just on the game tomorrow. I know you won't give us your team, but can you tell us who the captain will be?
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I think we will finish with Simon Peach then.
In terms of this, I'm guessing Harry might not be starting up front tomorrow. Is it a chance for people to make their mark?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things we always want to do is to make playing for England enjoyable, is to take the tension out of playing for England. We want the lads to express themselves. And equally, when you play for England, there is a pressure. And you know that you're not going to get 10 opportunities unless you play well. Every player that comes into the squad experiences that, has always done. So you can't relieve that. You can't, no matter what I say to a player, he's going to know that. So players coming in, they are opportunities, and you have to grasp them. But they've had to do that at every stage of their career as well. You know, when they've first gone into a club as a young player, or when they've first gone in the first team at the club. So they are used to that, and all of them are more than capable of going and playing it incredibly well. And they'll also be very excited about a full house at Wembley and the opportunity to play there.
And on a far more important and bigger matter than football, the FA have announced its stance ahead of tomorrow night on the Israel-Gaza conflict. Just wondered your thoughts, and I guess you support what the FA has released.
Well, firstly, incredibly harrowing pictures, and thoughts and feelings are to everybody who has suffered, who have lost relatives and friends in these attacks. It's incredibly disturbing to see. on a broader scale, in my lifetime, it's one of the most complex situations in the world, and I think everybody is grappling with how best to deal with that. I don't know what it's like to walk in the shoes of people on either sides of that conflict. So what I do know is that I think people at the FA will have consulted with everybody they possibly can, and they would have tried to make the best decision with good intentions. Clearly, whatever decision they came to would have been criticised in one way or another. So I also recognise how difficult it was for them. I wasn't involved in those discussions. They were long and went on for a long time, I know. But they've decided to take the stance they have, and we will get on with that.
Thanks, guys. We'll end it there. Cheers.
Thank you.